Hello and welcome to the Midweek conversation at First Baptist Sweetwater, where we strive to be the first responders of God's love. My name's Jerry Hendricks. I'm here with T. Hamilton, and we're in the Welcome Center for our podcast this week because this is the beginning of Advent.
Yes, it is.
How nice. If it gets too hot, we may have to leave.
No, it won't. It'll be fine.
Well, hey, we're in the middle of Advent.
Yes, well, yeah. We're one weekend, one
Sunday in. We're in the midst
in.
of it. Maybe not
in the midst of it, yeah. We're one Sunday in. It's
okay.
The first Monday of Advent.
But hey, before we get too far down the conversation road of Advent, Tika, I have to ask you a question.
Okay.
Okay, the question is, if you could add one thing to Thanksgiving, to your Thanksgiving tradition, what would you add?
Chocolate pie with meringue.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't want that Cool Whip stuff. I want real meringue.
That is an awesome idea.
My grandma makes the best.
So. Yeah, so talked about that Sunday, just our traditions, because we're in the midst of celebrating the traditions here at First Baptist Sweetwater. We celebrate 140 years. Our theme is the story of God for all generations.
Right.
We're really thinking about this experience that we have throughout a lifetime of a church or a lifetime of a family, what it means to be able to tell the story of Jesus. And so here we are talking about Advent today.
You didn't ask what I'd take away.
Oh, what would you take away?
Football. It really messed up my nap.
Well, I don't hate that.
I did.
I do hate naps getting messed up, but I find that I can sleep through most any football game.
Yeah, I know. I tried.
But there were the games just kept on coming. Okay, I don't want to go down that path.
Last year was the only year I watched only on Thanksgiving. That's the only time I had to watch. Pandemic blessed me with not having to watch Super Bowl, so it was good. This year, I'm afraid the Super Bowl's coming back. So,
well, I can assure you that it is, T.
I'm afraid it is.
There are a lot of significant games this week at the end of the season. I did get caught up in it. Left on Tuesday, got to see my nephew coach his basketball team at Stanford. And then he was coaching against James's high school coach.
Okay.
So, man, we started with basketball, small town basketball, and then watched basketball, then had Thanksgiving and watched football. Then we went to a football game and got back and watched more football. And then we took a family picture yesterday.
I'd rather take family pictures than the football part.
No, man.
Now, high school football in Texas was apparently amazing last weekend.
Yeah?
6 state champions lost.
Oh, wow. I didn't
Friday.
know that.
6 of them.
Yeah. I'm sort of out of the local sports news loop.
Yeah.
But,
Stephenville upset Argyle, so
oh, good.
It's a pretty big day.
Well, moving on. Advent.
That's your sports report.
The Sunday of Hope. We got started this Sunday. Talk about the coming of Jesus again. And it's not something we talk about a lot.
No, we don't. And I don't know why. I mean, in general, I don't know why that's not an emphasis of the church in general. I think part of it's kind of because we get so caught up in the how of the return of Christ, and that causes division and fights a lot of times where it shouldn't. As opposed to just the truth that Jesus is coming back. Right. I think I told you I did a wedding a couple Fridays ago, and the DJ of all people came up to me and said, "I've got a question for you." And I said, "Okay." He said, "What's your belief on eschatology?" And I'm like, "Well, you don't expect the word eschatology to come out of a DJ's mouth at a wedding." So I said, "I believe Jesus is coming back," and left it at that. And later on, they said, "So it's all about the gospel for you?" I was like, "Yep, pretty much."
It's interesting how, for those who seem to be most interested in talking about the return, how that answer does not suffice or doesn't seem to suffice.
No, they want the how and the when in your prediction.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't you remember that, even Jesus said, "I don't know the day and time."
Yeah, it seems to me, having lived a few generations, I suppose, is that it sort of trends in and out when we talk about it. You don't seem to have the foolish prophets anymore prophesying the day that it's going to happen.
Right.
Although it has happened even in your young lifetime.
Yeah, 88 Reasons Jesus Returned in 1988.
Yeah. So, but it's something for us to consider, and I do know that through. It would have been too convenient, I guess, and I never chose to go down that route during pandemic to make that a point of emphasis, because I felt like that trendiness to it picks up, and then people start their own little speculative journey. And really, I think I tried Sunday to keep it simple. I think that's the meaning of that first Sunday of Advent, is that we want to be assured, and we can be assured based on God's truth that He's coming back.
Right. And I think the whole being prepared isn't predicting when He's going to be here.
Right.
The being prepared is how we live out our lives, that we're supposed to be attentive to the world around us and bringing the message of Jesus to everyone. Instead, we want to argue about dates, times, earthquakes, wars, and rumors of wars.
Right. And one of the things that we really want to experience here at First Baptist Sweetwater in our spiritual formation is understanding this rhythm of conversation that keeps us anchored in a really good place. And the thing that we want to understand is that every year, the first Sunday of Advent is this subject.
Right.
And it's, when you come off of Thanksgiving weekend and you're allowing yourself to put up your lights finally,
right,
and do all the other Christmassy things,
right,
you tend to rush into the Christmas season. And we've talked a lot about how we have a tendency to rush,
right,
rather than wait,
right.
And this first Sunday is really one of those that it doesn't really fit the Christmas theme very well,
right? But it actually it doesn't fit the Christmas theme, but for Advent, it makes sense as we connect to the Old Testament characters of their hope in the Messiah and our hope in the Messiah.
Right. Yeah.
So it is kind of fun that way. When you were talking about rush and like that idea of chaos, that was another thing pandemic saved us from last year, was all the extra Christmas parties.
Right.
It's amazing how quickly you can fill up with Christmas parties, and you're so Christmas party out, you're just ready for Advent to be over with, or Christmas to be over with. One of the deals we did in youth Sunday morning was I had everything set up except for the Christmas tree. It was still in pieces, which at our house we use a real Christmas tree, not a fake one. But
as
here,
one should.
Yes, but here we have a fake one. That way I don't have to remember to water it. And so I had it in pieces. The decorations were on the ground, and the lights were on the ground. And I told the kids, I was like, all right, get to putting it together. And they did a great job, and they had fun. It was funny to watch them and as they're putting stuff up on the tree and everything. And then we talked about the idea of chaos that happens at Christmas time and how we miss that. But Advent's to bring that order and kind of that slowing down so that we can recognize what's important at Advent, not the chaos that's happening around us.
Yeah. And it is hard to do that, and you can't, and you feel sometimes in the life of the messaging of the church that you're really going against the flow.
Right.
And that even though we can talk about it and capture the messaging on a Sunday, the minute we walk out of here, people are walking into the malls, shopping centers, and things like that to step back into that chaos. So it is something that I think you have to, first of all, be willing to enter into, and then, honestly, I think you have to fight for it.
Yeah, you have to say no to some things.
Which is, it's true throughout the year. When we think of our spiritual formation and how we intend to develop disciplines that help us to grow and develop a faith, I mean, that's not something that just happens accidentally. It doesn't just occur. It's something that you have to put effort into.
Right.
And the Christmas season is definitely that another season where I think you have to struggle to find that time to really absorb what God wants to say to you. And I kept saying yesterday, what's God saying to the church and what's God saying to us? I think those two things work together for us to have a really good experience throughout the season. A
really good Advent devotional helps with that also. Whatever you find to use, that can help kind of slow you down. Because I think sometimes we can focus just, you got 4 Sundays.
Right.
So you got Mary, Joseph, Jesus, and Magi and Shepherd together. There's other characters in the Christmas story that play a very important part. Anna, Simeon, some of those that you want to study, the prophets. And so that can help you as you look through 25 or 26, 27, 28 days of Advent, slowing down and reading Scripture as a plan.
Right.
Or as a family. Ooh, good idea.
That's a good idea. Because family's plan A, right?
Yeah, and it would have been great if we sent out an email that had devotional recommendations. Oh, wait, we did. So there we go.
We try to cover all the bases and saturate our folks with opportunities to and resources,
Right.
that will help them to walk through these different seasons. But it is a fun time, as also the church year begins to kind of wind down. So in some ways, we do capture that visioning part of what we want to accomplish here. This has definitely been a good year. It's almost, you look back, it's hard to believe that last year was the blur that it really was.
Right. Yeah. I was just talking about, like, not just pandemic, but the different ice. Like, we had Ice Mageddon, but then in October we had an ice storm that came through with snow, and just like how much we were inside, and it wasn't just pandemic.
Well, it's it's the other thing I like about Advent is that we're able to focus on one word or one thought. I mean, it's you can capture all those, and they kind of flow through really the essence of who we are during this season. But it does help too to really just take one of those words at a time. And the word for this first Sunday of Advent was hope. I think that is our challenge for us to explore the more hopeful side of our life and of our faith life. And one of the things that I became more aware of this year was the being willing to express that to family and to those outside the life of the church.
The word we used in youth was expectant waiting.
Expectant waiting is good.
That it's more than wishfulness. It's more than, man, I really hope I get a puppy for Christmas. It's having that faith that something's coming that's been promised. Right.
And as we shared Sunday, the exciting part too, knowing that something is coming, is God's already done that for us before, and we celebrate that, and we look forward to that coming again.
Yeah.
Well, this Sunday we celebrate.
Whoa, slow down. That's Advent. Don't jump ahead. Oh. I was waiting for that the entire podcast.
Oh my goodness. Well, we tend to try to look ahead to the next Sunday as sort of since this is our midweek conversation, a little bit of looking back and then some looking forward. We finished our 3 Sundays of giving with Angel Tree this week.
Right. And there's no more angels on the tree. I mean, that is it's so cool. Someone came back, it might have been Stephanie Sanders, and said how great it was just see like people like rush to the back to do that, because it's a really cool ministry. If there's a ministry where it's like, don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing, it's probably that one, because you get no credit for buying a gift to give to a kid, because the credit goes to the incarcerated parent.
Someone else.
That's good. So that's really a cool ministry that I really appreciate.
Right. And so this Sunday, as we get ready to celebrate, we have some musical guests that are going to be with us.
Yes.
I've been telling you that every week of Advent is going to have a really unique or special twist to it as we celebrate the Christmas season, the Advent season. And so this week we're going to celebrate with some special musical guests. That's all I'm going to say about that, other than be here on time and be ready for a really, really exciting experience this Sunday.
And that time is?
10:30 a.m.
10:30 a.m.
Whether you're streaming with us or you're live, it's going to be a really good time. We're excited about it.
It's going to be good.
Well, thanks for joining us for this midweek conversation. We look forward to seeing you Sunday.
See you then.